Chandrayaan-3 full explanation. Details about Chandrayaan-3. Chandrayaan-3 is India's third lunar exploration mission under the Chandrayaan program of ISRO. It consists of a lander named Vikram and a rover named Pragyan, similar to Chandrayaan-2, but does not have an orbiter. Its propulsion module behaves like a communication relay satellite. The main objectives of the mission are to demonstrate a soft landing on the moon and to operate the rover on the lunar surface. The launch of Chandrayaan-3 took place on the 14th of July 2023, at 2:35 p.m. IST from Satish Dhawan Space Center using a Launch Vehicle Mark III, LVM-3, rocket. The spacecraft completed 5 Earth-bound maneuvers between July 15 and 25, which raised its altitude to more than 1.2 lakh km at apogee, farthest point from Earth. Then, it performed the Trans-Lunar Injection, TLI, on August 1, which put it in a path towards the Moon at an altitude of nearly 3.6 lakh km. On August 5, it performed a Lunar Orbit Insertion, LOI, that put it in an elliptical orbit around the Moon. The spacecraft entered a circular orbit of 100 km around the Moon after another operation on August 16. The next day, the lander module, carrying the rover inside, separated from the propulsion module. The lander module then performed the boost maneuvers to put itself in an orbit where the perilune, closest point to the Moon, is 30 km and Apollyon, farthest point from the Moon, is 100 km. The lander module is expected to land near the lunar South Pole region on August 23 at 17:47 IST, 12:17 Coordinated Universal Time. The landing site is between Manzanus C and Simpelius N craters, at coordinates 69 degrees 22 feet 03, S 32 degrees 20 minutes 53 seconds east. The landing process will involve reducing the velocity of the lander from 30 km height to the final landing, and changing its horizontal orientation to a vertical one. If successful, India will become the fourth nation to achieve a soft landing on the Moon, after Russia, USA and China. The budget of Chandrayaan-3. According to the ISRO chairman K. Sivan, the cost of Chandrayaan-3 was around 615 crore rupees. He further said that the lander, rover and propulsion module cost 250 crore rupees and the launch services itself cost around 365 crore rupees. This is much lower than the cost of Chandrayaan-2, which was about 978 crore rupees. ISRO has been able to reduce the cost of Chandrayaan-3 by reusing some of the components and technologies from Chandrayaan-2, such as the orbiter and the launch vehicle too. ISRO is known for its frugal and efficient space missions, which often cost less than other space agencies. For example, India's Mars Orbiter mission, MOM, in 2013 cost only $74 million, while NASA's Maven mission to Mars in the same year cost $671 million. Objectives of Chandrayaan-3. Some of the scientific objectives of Chandrayaan-3 mission are: 1. To study the lunar surface and its composition using the rover's instruments, such as Alpha Particle X-ray Spectrometer, APXS, and Laser-Induced Breakdown Spectroscope, LIBS. 1. These instruments can measure the elemental abundance and chemical composition of the lunar rocks and soil. 2. To investigate the lunar ionosphere and atmosphere using the lander's instrument, Radio Anatomy of Moon-Bound Hypersensitive Ionosphere and Atmosphere, RAMBER. 2. This instrument can measure the plasma density and electric field variations in the lunar environment. 3. To measure the thermal properties and seismic activity of the lunar surface using the lander's instruments, Chandra's Surface Thermo-Physical Experiment, CHAST, and Instrument for Lunar Seismic Activity, ILSA. 3. These instruments can record the temperature variations and moonquakes on the lunar surface. 4. To test the Laser Retroreflector Array, LRA, on the lander, which can reflect laser signals from Earth or other spacecraft. 4. This can help in determining the precise position and orientation of the lander on the Moon. 5. To demonstrate a soft landing on the Moon and to operate the rover on the lunar surface. 5. This can enhance India's capabilities in lunar exploration and pave the way for future missions. Comparison between Chandrayaan-2 and Chandrayaan-3. Chandrayaan-2 and Chandrayaan-3 are two lunar exploration missions launched by India's space agency, ISRO. Both missions aim to achieve a soft landing on the Moon and to operate a rover on the lunar surface. However, there are some key differences between the two missions, such as: 1. Chandrayaan-2 consisted of the Vikram lander, the Pragyan rover, and an orbiter, whereas Chandrayaan-3 is planned to have only a lander and a rover. 1. For its communication and terrain mapping needs, Chandrayaan-3 is set to utilize the existing orbiter that was deployed with Chandrayaan-2 and is currently in orbit around the Moon. 2. Chandrayaan-3 has been designed with several improvements and modifications based on the learnings from Chandrayaan-2, which failed to make a soft landing on the Moon due to a loss of communication with the lander during the final descent. 2. Some of these improvements include stronger legs for the lander, more fuel for the lander, 2 hazard detection and avoidance cameras for the lander, and a laser retro-reflector array for the lander. 3. Chandrayaan 3 is expected to land near the lunar South Pole region, which is of scientific interest due to the possibility of finding water ice and other resources. 3. The landing site is between Manzanus C and Simpelius N craters, at coordinates 69 degrees 22 feet 03, S 32 degrees 20 feet 53 inches E2. 3. Chandrayaan 2 was also targeting the same region, but its exact landing site was not disclosed before the launch. 4. Chandrayaan 3 is cheaper than Chandrayaan 2, as it reuses some of the components and technologies from the previous mission. 4. The cost of Chandrayaan 3 is estimated to be around 615 crore rupees, whereas the cost of Chandrayaan 2 was about 978 crore rupees.